All right, what's up, guys? Emmanuel Jones back here. We already did part one of the tier rankings, but now we're going to do part two. The reason why I didn't want to do a full part because of my storage, so I might have to delete some stuff, but I don't know. So we're gonna get started with the part two anyway. So this next team we have is the LA Rams. The LA Rams are they're they're a really good team though. They're obviously going to be the favorites. The reason why I put them in favorites is because the Rams, they have one of the best defenses in the NFL. I mean, including Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. I mean, Von Miller is a free agent, so they could look to re-sign him. I mean, OBJ's a free agent, they could look to re-sign him. So their offense is really good. I mean, they made a great run in the playoffs into the Super Bowl. I mean, the receiving core is stacked. The tight end is really good. The running backs are very solid with Akers back and Sony Michel. Yeah, I mean, Darrell Henderson's still okay. But I think they need a lot of work a little bit on defense, like improve their interior defensive line, improve the linebacking position, and maybe add a number two corner, though, in the secondary. Maybe you get rid of Darius Williams and maybe add somebody else in their corner. The safety position, they need a lot of work. I mean, Taylor Rapp, outside Taylor Rapp, I mean, they need to find somebody else. So, yeah, so the Rams secondary is okay. So I think the Rams are surely going to be the favorites. Also, they got one of the best quarterbacks in Matthew Stafford, which he's totally an upgrade over Jared Goff. I mean, they made the right move at quarterback. So yeah, even Deshaun Watson and Aaron Rodgers on the team, that's still a good move. So yeah, they're surely going to be up there for sure. All right, next team we have is the Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders are another fascinating team. I mean, the Raiders, they made it far to the playoffs this year. I mean, that was a great run they made. Derek Carr, I mean, he's still underrated. I mean, they got some talent on offense. I mean, Josh Jacobs is solid. I mean, Hunter Renfrow, I mean, he's gonna be a stud at wide receiver. Darren Waller's a stud. I mean, they still got Brian Edwards. I mean, they can still improve at wide. They need to improve at wide receiver. I mean, Zay Jones could be all right. I mean, Deshaun Jackson, I mean, he's a free agent. I mean, they could look to improve at number two wide receiver. And also, the offensive line's okay, but they need a lot of work. Defensively, they're really good up front and at the linebacker position. I mean, secondary, they can improve at corner. I mean, yeah. And also, they got a new coach in Josh McDaniels. I think he's going to develop Derek Carr really well. But you know what? The Raiders seem like they're really not far from a playoff team. Because I feel like some games they'll be competitive because of the quarterback play. But you know what? I don't think the Raiders are going to be a playoff team again this year. At least they made a solid run. But I'm just going to say they're just an average team for right now because I just think the Raiders, sometimes they're that team where they win and lose, and sometimes Derek Carr is like a difference maker, and sometimes defenses don't really give answers for him. So yeah, that's how I see it. The Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns are another interesting team though. Now, the Cleveland Browns, their roster is really talented. I mean, they did not make the playoffs this year. So, yeah. But you know what? I mean, they still have Baker Mayfield. I mean, they can move him, but I wouldn't be shocked. I feel like Baker Mayfield is better than he gets credit for. And totally, their offense is really good. I mean, the running backs are solid. I mean, wide receiver, I mean, they need to at least add another receiver because I feel like Jarvis Landry could be on his way out of Cleveland. I mean, Donovan Peoples-Jones, I mean, it's probably not the answer for when a wide receiver one. Rashard Higgins is fine, but not fantastic. So they can look to at least add a true number one for Baker Mayfield. Offensive line is very solid. I mean, defensively, I think they need a scheme change. I mean, I think I never know if they had a scheme change or not, but it's still really good. I mean, I mean, the secondary is really good. So I feel like the Browns defense, I mean, they could be built to win the Super Bowl this year, but I would not be surprised. So they got to look to improve at. So yeah, so I don't really know how good Baker can be. Can he ever be a top 10 guy? I don't really know. But I don't really think Baker Mayfield's an elite guy to me because he's like not close to being in. Like he's almost close to it, but he's kind of not quite a top 10 quarterback to me. Like he's more like an average guy. So, by the way, I'm probably going to say the Browns. I mean, they still got Kevin Stefanski. I mean, Kevin Stefanski, he's a great offensive play caller, but I think Baker Mayfield can be better than he gets credit for. Okay, but even if they get like a Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson or Aaron Rodgers, okay, this team will probably be maybe a contender or something. But due to the fact that, I don't think Baker Mayfield is at their level quite yet. I don't think he's at the elite level quite yet. So I'm probably gonna put them in a dark course because I think the Browns can probably bounce back to be a playoff team. I mean, as long as Baker Mayfield, doesn't play garbage, I think he can take this team. If he can take a step forward this year, I think the Browns will make the playoffs because they were not close to doing it last year. But you know what? Even though I feel like Baker Mayfield can be better than I expect him to be. Even though I rip him apart, I think he can prove to me that he can at least play better. All right, next team we have the New York Giants. The Giants are another interesting team though. I mean, I feel like Daniel Jones is better than he gets credit for. I mean, they have a new coach in Brian Daboll. I mean, I think he might work the Giants scheme. I think he can develop Daniel Jones. And plus, the receiving core stack, I mean, tight ends is fine. Running backs, I mean, I just heard the rumor spreading out saying that Saquon might get traded. So, yeah, that's something to watch. I mean, I feel like Saquon's probably. I feel like that. As long as the Giants' offense might be good, as long as they keep Saquon. I mean, if not, they'll probably trade him for other assets. Offensive line needs lots of work. Defensively, they need a lot of work. Up front, in the linebacking core, in the secondary, they might look to trade James Bradbury or maybe Jabril Peppers. I don't know. But you know what? I don't think the Giants are a no chance team because I feel like Daniel Jones feels like an average quarterback to me. So maybe if they get like a Russell Wilson, okay, this team will probably be a contender. So I don't think the defense is that good, but I think the offense is average. I feel like there's an average team to me. So I'm just gonna put the Giants as an average team because I kind of feel like that the Giants are not ready for playoffs yet, but it could be. But they could be competitive in some games, but I wouldn't be surprised. All right, next game we have the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos are another interesting team, though. Now they don't have a quarterback right now. They could look to trade Teddy Bridgewater. I wouldn't be shocked. Running back position is really good. They have a pretty much talented team. Their offense is really young. They got some young players on offense I really like. They have some young players on defense I really like. But the offensive line needs a lot of improvement. Defensive line needs lots of improvement. Secondary is not as bad as you think. So yeah, but you know what? They have a new coach in Nathaniel Hackett. If he can at least get that franchise quarterback, if he can at least get like a Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers or Deshaun Watson, okay, this team will probably be a contender or maybe be the favorites. Okay, but due to the fact that, I heard the rumors spreading all about it, but maybe if they get like a Carson Wentz, okay, this team will probably still be average. Or maybe they could be dark horse. Or maybe they get Baker Mayfield or Kirk Cousins. If they get Kirk Cousins, okay, this team's like a dark horse. So maybe I'm probably going to at least put the Broncos as an average team for right now, but this can totally change my mind if they get Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson. So I'm going to say the Broncos at least be an average team because they just don't have a quarterback right now. And, I'm not going to put them as a no chance because Denver's not far from being a playoff team because Denver can prove to me that they can be competitive in some games. But I think Nathaniel Hackett's going to make them competitive. So, yeah, that's why I have the Broncos as an average team. All right, next team, we have the Tampa Bay Bucks. The Tampa Bay Bucks. If Tom Brady say retire, I don't really know who the answer at quarterback. They don't have a quarterback right now. I could say they could be one of the worst teams in the league. Offense, their coaching is really good, but not fantastic. But their roster is really talented. The receivers are good. They could look to resign Chris Godwin, or maybe they can look to add another one, or maybe the tight end position is really good because I know Gronk's a free agent. They have plenty of free agents on both sides of the ball. I wouldn't be surprised if they lose them all. I think they might resign them all, but maybe they'll let one of them go. So, yeah. So, I feel like they don't need a lot of work. We just got it on defense. So, I feel like they need to resign their players on defense. Offensive line is really solid, though. And also, bringing back Byron Leftwich and Todd Bowles was a huge plus to them. So maybe the Bucks get like a Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson or Aaron Rodgers or maybe a Jimmy Garoppolo. Maybe this team can probably be a contender or be the favorites. But due to the fact that, they don't have the quarterback right now and Tom Brady's retired, let's say if it's Jameis Winston, then his team will be average. So I might say the Bucks could be a no chance because they don't have a quarterback, but I'm not going to put them as a no chance. I'm just going to put them as an average team for right now, but this can totally change my mind if Tom Brady does decide to unretire and come back to Tampa Bay. So, yeah. So yeah. I feel like Tampa Bay does need that quarterback, and then, you can just change my mind. All right, next team, we have Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions, they're just a no chance. The reason why I put the Lions as a no chance is because, look, they don't have a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. When you look at the offensive line it's not bad, but it's not it's good, but it's not great. They need a lot of work in the receiving core position. Running backs are fine. Defensively, they need a lot of work in the linebacker position at the front seven and obviously at the secondary too, at corner and safety. So they need a lot of work. It was a rebuilding year for Detroit last year. I feel like their coaching seems like it's pretty good because I feel like Dan Campbell, he made this team a lot competitive and they were able to fight. So maybe I can change my mind, maybe put them in the average category because of that. But I'm just going to put them as a no chance because I feel like Detroit could be one of the worst teams in the league. But I would not be surprised I would not be shocked if they were competitive. So, yeah. All right, next team, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence, if he improves the way he should be, I think this team will probably take a step forward. He was not great last year. Yeah. The offensive line needs tons of work. They need to work on their receiving core. Marvin Jones seems like he's a little bit overrated. DJ Chark is a free agent, so they might let him go. They need to work. They need a lot of work at a receiving core at tight end. Running back is really good. They need defensively. They're not bad, but I feel like they need a lot of work on defense. It's totally at the linebacking position, at the front seven, in the secondary, at corner and safety. So, yeah, and especially Jacksonville has a new coach in Doug Peterson. So, I kind of feel like Doug Peterson's probably going to make them a lot more competitive. But I don't really know. Because if Trevor Lawrence, if they can at least take a step forward this year, then I think Jacksonville might make the playoffs. So if they at least add like a true number one wide receiver, Trevor Lawrence, then I feel like this offense will be actually pretty good. But I'm probably gonna put Jacksonville maybe as an average team, but I wouldn't be shocked. But I don't want to say they're average. I mean, they weren't close to being average last year, so I'm gonna say they're still a no chance team, despite them with Doug Peterson led this team a lot more competitive. Yeah, I totally think they're a no chance team in my opinion because they need more. Because I kind of feel like they need. I mean, they gotta fill in holes. I mean, Marvin Jones was fantastic. I mean, DJ Chark might maybe let go. I feel like they need to fill a lot of holes on defense and at the offensive line. That's why I think Jacksonville will still be one of the worst teams in the league again, despite them hiring Doug Peterson. All right, next team we have the Washington football team. Washington is another fascinating team. I mean, Ron Rivera. I mean, it's third year coaching. I mean, they don't really have a quarterback right now. I mean, when you look at the front office, it's totally bad. So Washington probably doesn't have a quarterback right now. So yeah, so if they at least get like an Aaron Rodgers or a Russell Wilson or a Deshaun Watson, okay, this team will probably be the favorites or maybe be a contender. If they don't get one of those quarterbacks, then maybe let's say if it's a Jameis Winston or a Teddy Bridgewater. Or maybe a Sam Darnold or a Cam Newton. So I mean, this team will probably. I mean, maybe. Yeah, this team will probably be average. Even if they trade for Tua, I mean, this team will still be average. I mean, they don't really have a quarterback right now. I mean, I don't really believe in Taylor Heineke, and I don't really believe in Ryan Fitzpatrick. I mean, he was hurt all year last year. I feel like that he's going to be on his way out, and I feel like he is likely to move on. I mean, when you look at the aspects of their offense, it's pretty good. I mean, Terry McLaurin is a stud. I mean, Antonio Gibson is okay. McKissic's okay too, and you still got Curtis Samuel as your wide receiver, and you still got Brown, who didn't really work much last offseason, this season. So yeah, and you also got Logan Thomas at the tight end. I mean, offensive line is okay, but needs tons of work. Defensively, they're really good in the front four. They can improve at linebacker position. The secondary is okay. They can improve to add another cornerback, maybe add another safety. So I feel like they need more improvement. So by the way, I don't think Washington is far from being a playoff team because they were almost close to doing so, but you know what? I'm gonna say that Washington is just average team because I just feel like Washington is just one of those teams. Cause I feel like Washington, they just don't have that quarterback, but their roster is pretty much talented a little bit. So yeah, I just kind of feel like Washington does need that quarterback. Yeah, and then you can just change my mind or something like that. I mean, it can totally change my mind if you get a franchise quarterback. So yeah. All right, next team we have the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings are another interesting team. New head coach Kevin O'Connell. I mean, I feel like I'm gonna see how he can develop Kirk Cousins in his offense. I mean, you still got Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson. Maybe you can improve at tight end. I mean, running backs are okay. I mean, offensive line is solid but needs tons of work. Defensively, they're really good, but it wasn't great last year. They need to improve at linebacker. They could look to resign Anthony Barr, improve in the front seven, and maybe improve at secondary. Maybe they can look to resign Patrick Peterson. So yeah, they need lots of work, a little bit on defense. So yeah. So by the way, I think the Vikings. I mean, Kirk Cousins seems like he's pretty good, and he makes and he's like a difference maker in some games, and he gets good when he gets credit for it. So yeah, especially he's getting close to being top 10. I mean, he played like an MVP last year. I mean, this team would have made the playoffs though. But you know what? I feel like Minnesota is going to take a little step forward. I feel they're going to take a step forward this year because I feel like Kirk Cousins seems like he's a baller. So I'm probably going to put the Vikings as dark horse because I kind of feel like Kirk Cousins, like I said, he gets good. He's good when he gets credit for it. And you know, this team is always competitive in some games though. So yeah. I mean, even if they get Baker Mayfield or Carson Wentz at quarterback, I mean, this team will probably at least be average. But let's say if they trade for Deshaun Watson, okay, this team will probably be a contender. But I'm not gonna say they're just a contender yet until they at least make the right moves. If they make the right moves, then this team will be really dangerous. All right, next team we have the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs, are another interesting team. Um, you know, Patrick Mahomes. I'm probably gonna say the Chiefs are a favorite because here's the thing. Patrick Mahomes is a top 10 quarterback. I mean, even though he kind of played really bad last year, I mean, they had a rough start and then they turned their season around. And this is a team that didn't make the Super Bowl. I mean, the offense is pretty good. They can look to resign Jerry McKinnon. Tyreek Hill is really good, and then you got Travis Kelce, which he's getting a little older. That's something to watch. They could look to add another receiver. Like they need to find that another Sammy Watkins. Miko Hardman seems like he's really good. I feel like he's gonna be a stud. Brian Pringle seems like he's gonna be a stud. Demarcus Robinson's fine. Offensive line is really good. Defensively, I feel like they need a lot of work, and they feel like they need a little bit of scheme change. They need to work on their defensive line outside of Chris Jones. Linebackers seem like they're okay. I feel like they need a lot of work in the linebacking position because they cut Anthony Hitchens. I feel like Willie Gay and Nick Bolton had a really good rookie season. And then maybe they can look to improve in the secondary. Like maybe improve at corner or maybe improve at safety. Like maybe resign Tyrann Mathieu and resign Charvarius Ward, and maybe or else you can either get rid of Charvarius Ward and maybe add somebody else. But you know what? I feel like their defense could struggle next year because they could lose Tyrann Mathieu. Because if they lose Tyrann Mathieu, then their defense could struggle. So yeah, that's something we gotta watch. So I feel like the Chiefs, I feel like they need to draft well on defense, so that way this team can be a good team and make it so that way they can make it far, so they can make the playoffs once again. And you know what? Bringing back Eric Bieniemy as the offensive coordinator, that's a huge plus right there. So I feel like this team should be good. So yeah, but if I put them as a contender, I wouldn't be shocked. But so yeah, that's how I see the Chiefs. So I feel like they are a favorite. Next team, we have the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens are another interesting team. Um, that's a one you can argue with. Cause should I put them as a favorite or a contender? You know what? I put the Ravens as a contender because I could kind of feel like that the Ravens. Lamar Jackson is a difference maker in some games. The Ravens did not make the playoffs last year because they've been losing the rest of the season. And Lamar Jackson, he was hurt, so I feel like he should be back and the coaching staff is really good. John Harbaugh is really good. Their defense kind of fell apart because they lost Don Martindale. Offensively they're really good. Marquise Brown's a stud. Bateman had a really good season. So yeah, and also Mark Andrews is a stud at tight end. running backs weren't really, the running game was very slow last year, so they should look to bring back J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, so they should be back next season. I mean, offensive line, I mean, it's okay, but needs tons of work. Defensively, there is very inconsistent, so they need tons of work at the defensive line. I mean, linebackers are okay, but they need more studs on defense. So maybe they can look to improve their defensive line because their defensive line is getting pretty older. So yeah, so maybe they can look to resign Calais Campbell and all that. So yeah. Um the secondary is okay. They can look to improve at safety. I mean, corners are good. I mean, the corners were bad. They weren't great last year due to injuries, so they should be back. So maybe they should look to improve at safety as well. So yeah, so maybe the Ravens are a contender. So Ravens are a contender, but I wouldn't be shocked if I put them as a favorite. All right, next team we have the Carolina Panthers. Carolina Panthers are another interesting team though. Now, I like the Panthers young team. I mean, I feel like they don't have a quarterback right now, but they still got Matt Rule as a head coach. I mean, offensively, their receiving talent is really good. I mean, tight end they need to look to improve. I mean, Christian McCaffrey. I don't really know how good their running game's gonna be. I mean, if they don't, if they don't keep CMC, then they will trade him for other assets. So yeah, that's something to watch. Me, offensive line needs tons of work. Defensively, they were pretty good last year, but I feel like they need a scheme change. So yeah, they need to look to improve their secondary a little bit. But offense, but they don't really have a quarterback right now. I mean, they could look to keep Sam Darnold, but if not, they'll probably trade him for other assets. They still have Cam Newton, but he's so inconsistent. So, by the way, I'm gonna say the Panthers are just an average team because I just kind of feel like that their talent is kind of young, and I just kind of feel like the Panthers, I just kind of feel like that Carolina, okay, if they can at least get an elite quarterback like Jimmy G or Aaron Rodgers or maybe a Russell Wilson or maybe a Deshaun Watson can go there. Okay, this team can probably be a contender or maybe a dark horse. But I wouldn't be surprised though. So yeah. So I think the Panthers, I mean, as you look at the NFC South, it's really bad because you don't really have a quarterback. I mean, except for Atlanta. I mean, even if the Panthers, let's say if the Panthers get an elite quarterback, I mean they can probably win the NFC South. If the Saints do, they can probably win the NFC South. But I don't know about the Falcons though. So yeah. So that's how I see as Carolina Panthers. So I see them as average. Next team we have it as the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans, they're another tricky team. This is a team that made the playoffs last year. They were the number one seed. Ryan Tannehill, he's an okay quarterback, but not great. Offensively, they're really good. They're running. Derrick Henry's a stud. AJ Brown's a stud. Julio Jones seems like he's not the same player. Yeah, they can look to improve at tight end. Offensive line is pretty old. They need to improve that because it's very weak. So weak last year because it's very old. Defensively, they're really good, but I feel like they need to do a lot of work. They can look to resign Harold Landry and maybe Jayon Brown and something like that. And maybe they could look to improve in the secondary. Maybe improve at cornerback. Safety is okay. So I don't really know where to put the Titans at, but I'm kind of between between dark horse and contender and favorite. I'm kind of between that. I don't really know, but I'm just gonna put them as a dark horse because I just kind of feel like their offense just bugs me a little bit. I mean, there's some games that their offense plays good, and some games their offense doesn't play good. I mean, if they get like a Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers, okay, this team can probably be the favorites, or maybe be a contender. But it kind of makes me nervous where to put Tennessee at because I just don't think their offense is that special. Like, it's okay, but I feel like it's kind of average. But I know their coaching is really good though. So yeah, and also I don't really know if Tannehill is gonna be the guy that's gonna take them further to the Super Bowl. I really don't know. So yeah, that's how I see it. All right, next team we have the Houston Texans. They're definitely the no chance because here's the thing: they don't have a quarterback, and they're totally a rebuilding team. Their coaching is probably a disaster. So they need to improve their roster a little bit. I mean, even though Davis Mills plays his heart out, I mean, I feel like they just need a quarterback. They need a running back. They need a tight end. They need wide receivers. They need an offensive line. They need a defensive line. They need linebackers. They need corners and safeties. They just need everything. So I feel like they're going to be one of the worst teams in the league next year, especially if Deshaun Watson's not on the team. And finally, the last team we had is the Green Bay Packers. Absolutely, this is just depending on if Aaron Rodgers is going to stay. If Aaron Rodgers stays, then I'm guessing that Green Bay will probably be a favorite. If he does not stay, okay, this team will probably be average. I mean, when you look at their roster, they're very talented. I mean, the running back is really good. I mean, Aaron Jones is really good. A.J. Dillon is good. I mean, Devontae Adams, wide receiver position is good. I mean, Devontae Adams is a stud. I mean, they could look to add another receiver. Like, I don't even know how many years I told you that they really need a really good number two wide receiver. I mean, Valdez-Scantling was okay. I mean, Allen Lazard was all right, but they're free agent. I mean, Tonyan was hurt, so he should be back. If he doesn't come back, then he will play for another team. I mean, offensive line is okay, but it was not fantastic last year because we know Batari was hurt all year, so he should be back. Defensively, I mean, they're really good. I mean, I think they're looking to move on from Zadarius Smith, but I kind of feel like their issue, I mean, it's just their cap space, and I don't even know how they're going to maneuver their cap going forward, especially with them bringing back Devontae Adams and bringing back Aaron Rodgers. Defensive, I mean, they're great in the secondary as well. Safety's really good. Corner's really good. Yeah. So, by the way, given the fact that Aaron Rodgers is still there, I'm going to put the Packers as the favorites because I just kind of feel like, I'm going to say Aaron Rodgers there for right now until something changes because this can totally change my mind. So absolutely the Green Bay is a favorite because they already have the best quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, and their roster is really talented. So yeah. So the Packers are a favorite. So by the way, we have 5 teams who are a favorite, 5 teams who are a contender, 6 teams who are a dark horse, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 teams who are average and 4 teams who are no chance. You know what? I might have to move something. You know what? I'm probably going to move the Raiders up 1. I'm going to say the Raiders are just a dark horse. Because I just kind of feel like Derek Carr, I mean, he's just like one of these guys who was a difference maker. And he'll pull some upsets due to, his mobility and all that. So, yeah. That's why I kind of changed my mind and say the Raiders are a dark horse. But if they get like a Russell Wilson or maybe Deshaun Watson or Aaron Rodgers, okay, this team will probably be a contender. So, yeah. So that's why I had to move the Raiders up one. Well, all right, guys. That's all of my tier rankings for 2022. Way too early 2022 predictions. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and don't forget, if you disagree with me, just let me know in the comment section below what you think and where you rank your team. So this is Emmanuel Jones from Big Fan. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys later. Peace.